Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. So I am finally back making another art video. I know it's been quite a while. For those of you keeping up on my personal life, I still do not have my stuff yet from the moving company, but I'm working on it. But I do have my editing supplies. So I had this video tucked away for occasions such as this, and I finally have the time and the resources to sit down and finally edit it and make another video. So yay! Do expect regular videos from now on because I should be getting my stuff very, very shortly. But until then, there is a topic I wanted to talk to you about today. And that topic is what to do when you quote unquote hate your art. I don't quite like using the word hate because it's a very strong word, and I feel like no one should hate their art, but I have also thought to myself, wow, I sure hate my art. I'm bad at art. I don't know how to do art. This sucks. And I get into this spiraling train of thought that's really counterproductive, and I feel like a lot of you guys have this as well. I get a lot of comments saying that you guys hate your art or that you keep comparing yourself to other artists and then you're unsatisfied with where your art is and all that kind of stuff. So I thought I would make a video talking about it. So this is all my personal experience with art. You guys can definitely have different opinions, but this is all my own experiences, so feel free to disagree with me. And I'd love to hear your guys' opinions on the matter too, and what you guys personally do to combat these negative feelings. So when I feel bad about my art, I find that it's usually because of one of two reasons. Now, the first reason is usually because I'm unsatisfied with my current skill level, and I feel like I should be more skilled at what I'm doing than what I currently am. And the second reason I feel bad about my art is usually because I'm comparing myself to other artists too much. So I want to go into each of these separately. So first I'm going to talk about the first point, and that is if I feel unsatisfied with my current skill level. And this happens quite a lot. And I feel like you guys may also resonate with this. Sometimes I'll just have a really cool idea, and this piece in particular is a perfect example of that. I had a really cool idea. It was in my brain. I knew exactly what I wanted to do and how I wanted to look. And I go and I start working on it, and I find out that I'm getting increasingly frustrated because I don't know how to draw what I want to draw. And I don't know how to make it look like the picture in my brain. And I know this is a struggle for so many artists. And one of the hardest things about doing art is that you have these ideas, but you don't know how to execute them. So it's really easy to get frustrated when this happens. And I was definitely frustrated working on this piece. Especially with the legs and the feet and the background. Those are all things that I know I struggle with and that I know I don't know how to do well. And I just kind of went for it anyway without a game plan. So what I should have done is I should have done studies of legs, of feet, of women standing, of foresty backgrounds, and I sort of did that. I looked at reference pictures and I had them pulled up on my Pinterest, but that was it. What I should have done is I should have taken the time to do extra studies and draw these things out beforehand and practice them until I was comfortable enough putting them in a final piece. So instead of doing that, I just kind of went in and winged it the whole time. And because I did that and because I didn't study, I came out very dissatisfied with this piece. So luckily, this has an easy enough fix. And it may sound a little harsh, but honestly, the only thing that you can do to combat this is to just get better. And luckily, there are many, many things you can do to get better at art. That would be a whole other video, but basically it all boils down to practicing more. If you are unsatisfied with your current skill level, that means you're not practicing enough and you need to do more practice, more studies, and just draw more. And I promise you, as long as you keep drawing and you draw more and you do studies and look at references and try new things, that you will get better at art and your skill level will improve. Now, there is always going to be that feeling of not being good enough. And that is something that's much harder to combat and much harder to deal with. But as long as you keep working and keep trying and keep focusing, you will get better and you will see results and you will be more satisfied with your art. But also keep in mind to be patient with yourself, because you don't need to be perfect at everything, especially with art. The biggest thing about art is that you're enjoying it and you're having fun. And if you're stressing out too much about not being good enough in art, then you may need to take a break and step back and reevaluate why you do art in the first place. This has happened to me a few times. Sometimes I'll just feel really, really low about my art. And this also kind of plays into some mental health issues that I have as well. So sometimes it's just really easy to fall victim to, I suck at this, I'm worthless, I'm not good at this, and that's no fun. So if you find yourself falling into that kind of spiraling train of thought, it's okay to step back and take a break from whatever it is you're doing. I highly recommend taking a break from art if you need it. It's not an awful thing to take maybe a week, maybe more, to just kind of reevaluate and collect yourself if you're feeling that bad about your own art. But the important thing is that you enjoy doing it, and if you enjoy doing it, you will come back to it with fresh eyes and rediscover why you like to create in the first place, because ultimately what we're doing here is we're creating things, you know? We don't have to be perfect. We don't have to be the best. The only thing that matters is that we're enjoying what we're doing, even if it doesn't look the best. But there are things you can do to make yourself more satisfied with your art, which is why I'm making this video today. Anyway, that's pretty much all I wanted to cover for the first topic. So if you're feeling like your skill level is not there, practice more and keep drawing and keep going at it. Art takes so much time. I've been drawing for 10 plus years and I'm nowhere near satisfied with my art. And that's not a bad thing. I'm always learning new things, always changing things and rediscovering different things. And that's one of the things I love about art. So don't get discouraged if you feel like your skill level isn't there yet, because it will be as long as you keep at it and keep practicing. So the second topic that I wanted to cover today is you may be feeling unsatisfied or that you hate your art because you're comparing yourself too much to other artists. Now, I am definitely a victim of this. I do this way too often and it's so not good, but I understand how hard it is to get out of that train of thought. So there's a quote that I like to remind myself of, and it goes along the lines of comparison is the thief of joy. And I really like that quote because it's so true. As long as you're looking at what someone else has, it is so hard to see what you yourself have. So you can look at someone's art and be like, wow, their art is amazing. I wish I was as good as them. And then you get blindsided by their work that you don't see your own and you don't see how good yours is. And like I said, I know how hard it is when you're looking at someone else's art to kind of step back and look at things objectively. But when you do, you realize, okay, this artist has really good work. I really admire their work. They have been putting in 15, 20 plus years into art where I've only put in maybe 5. So when you think about it that way, it's a lot easier to remove yourself emotionally from the situation and kind of look at things from a more logical point of view. Like, this artist has put in so much more work and so much more time than I have into art. So, by logically speaking, if I put in the same amount of work and effort, I can get to that point too. And that is what I find really helps me kind of step back. I try to remind myself not to be so emotional when looking at other people's art and kind of use it as a motivating factor. There are so many artists that I look up to that I wish I was as good as them. And it's so easy for me to look at their art and look at mine and say, wow, mine is so lackluster compared to them. Why doesn't my art have that special something that theirs has? But then you got to think about it. They are a different artist. They have a whole different life, a whole different life plan that got them to where they are. And I have my own life and my own experiences. And my art isn't going to have the same charisma and the same personality that someone else's art has. But at the same time, their art isn't going to have my personality and my charisma that my art has. Everyone's art is different, and that's another thing that makes art so great, is that everyone puts their soul into their art. So next time you're looking at someone else's art and you feel like your own art is missing something, it could just be that you're blind to your own special something that makes your art yours, because you see your art all the time. And then you see someone else's art and you're like, wow, that's so good. But then you kind of become blind to your own personal style and your own personal art. So I know it's hard. It's very hard. It's one of the hardest things I think about being an artist, is the constant comparing yourself. But you will be so much happier if you don't do that. So like I said, some things that I do to combat this, I try to remind myself this other artist has different life experiences, maybe more experience compared to me. And as long as I or you keep working at art and keep trying and don't get discouraged, you can get to that same level too. And that really helps me a lot. And then of course, keep practicing, keep drawing. If maybe you see someone else's art and you kind of want to emulate some of the things, like maybe you love the way they color, the way they draw hair, you can always pick apart the things that they do and add them to your own personal repertoire of things that you do to make your art yours. Side note though, never actually copy someone else's art, because that's only going to hinder your growth. So don't copy, but feel free to draw inspiration from their art. But don't also lose what makes your art special too. Just keep putting yourself and your personality into your art, as you always do. And then the more you practice and the more you grow, the more yourself is going to come out in your work, and it'll become more apparent, and you'll just find new ways to make that work for you. So yeah, that's pretty much the main topics I wanted to cover today. I hope this video helped you kind of get out of that thinking. If you're feeling like you hate your art, maybe just kind of step back and look at things from an outsider's perspective. I guarantee you, if you feel like you hate your art or that your art is bad, it's not as bad as you think. Your brain has a really funny way of making it seem that you are not good at what you do, but I promise you that is a lie. Because if you're drawing at all, and if you're practicing, and if you're trying to get better, then you are leagues ahead of anyone else who's not doing that, because that just proves that you want to draw and you want to get better, and you're putting in the effort and the perseverance to get better, and that is admirable, and you deserve a high five for that, because that's awesome. And never be scared to draw and try new things, even if you feel like you're bad at it. Have the courage to do it anyway, because that's the only way you're going to get better and the only way that you're ever going to improve. And that goes for anything too, not just art, but I'm talking from an art experience in this particular video, but I hope you can take that to heart in some other aspects of your life as well. So I'm going to get off my high horse now. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope it helped you at least a little bit, and I hope you are all having a wonderful day. Yeah. That's about it. So I will see you guys in my next video, and until then, goodbye.